Hi, this is Dan Aykroyd. He's progressive. He's beautiful. He's thoughtful. He's intelligent. He's powerful. He's positive. He is Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio.
You're listening to Power 98.5, powered by United Angels Dream, your #1 resource for public relations, entertainment, and multimedia. Contact them today at unitedangelsdream.com.
Hi guys, I'm Sam Fricker. I'm an Australian Olympic diver, and you're listening to Power 98.5.
Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco.
You guys all know, all of you know, I'm excited about this one. Super, super excited. Big shout out to my friend Patricia. I have to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I've always knew about the Hellcat Funny Car, but I never really got into it. And I'm going to honestly say, with all due respect to everyone over there, I like to have a tie-in emotion. I like to feel and to embody the excitement, the meaning of everything I'm connecting to, all right? I enjoy NASCAR because I have friends that drive NASCAR. I enjoy Indy because I have friends that are professional athletes there. Now I can honestly say, this is super exciting. We've got Matt Hagan. We've had several conversations. I got to build rapport with this young professional athlete, this pro race car driver, and he's super awesome. I took a hard look into what he does, who he is. He's so much more when you have a conversation with him, so don't be fooled by the photos, no matter what's out there. He's phenomenal. And once again, big, big shout out to my childhood best friend, one of them, Patricia Rodriguez, 44 years and going. And she told me I need to look into this guy. She's like, I saw one of the races, and she's like, you got to have him on the show. And now here we are. And I'm excited. We've got Matt Hagan. He's a driver of the Tony Stewart Racing Dodge, SRT Hellcat Funny Car for Partners, MOPAR, American Rebel Light Beer, and Johnson's Horse-Powered Garage. We've also got to mention a 4-time NHRA Drag Racing Series Funny Car World Champion. Do we want to highlight? Yes, we want to highlight 2011, 2014, 2020, and 2023. We've got to add 2026, 2027, 2028 onto that. He is a cattle rancher from Christiansburg, Virginia, and has a career best elapsed time run of 3.799 seconds. If any of you don't know that, start watching. All right, get into this. I'm going to have to go deeper into Matt as to why they call it Funny Car. I'm not going to say I know or don't know, but I want to get it from the person who knows it well, does it exceptionally well, and knows better than all of us. Matt, welcome to Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5.
Stephen, thanks for having me on the show, buddy. I tell you what, it's been great to get to know you a little bit off the scene here, and obviously to be able to do this show, it's super important to us to grow new fans and have people that maybe not know what drag racing is to kind of take a deep dive and figure it all out, and that's exciting for me.
Yeah, big shout out to Sarah. Thank you for sending all of the extraordinary, amazing photos over to me. She also said that you first competed in Funny Car back in 2008. Right?
Yeah. It was a start for me. I've been kind of drag racing since I was 13 years old. I had a family friend that had a car. I actually owned the car now. He had a stroke and laid up in the hospital for several years before he passed away. And it was real important to me to buy that car. And obviously the medical bills were really tough on his family. So it was one of those things where I was like, let's make this happen, because it was one of the key things to getting me into drag racing. And it was an old 69 Dart, and this thing stood up on its bumper when it would leave the start line. And at 13 years old, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And just seeing a gear jammer run like that, and something that would had enough torque to actually pick the front end up and scrape the bumper back there was unbelievable. And I said, I got to try this, man. I didn't know how I was going to do it or what was going to happen, but I had a 4-wheeler and at 13, and started drag racing it and started winning some money. And I was like, man, I can make money doing this. So one thing led to another. My pops got a car dealership. And unbelievable, as soon as I started, to get my learners and could talk somebody into going on the drag strip with me, I was stealing cars off of his used car lot, and I would bring them back with the transmission out of them and different things like that. And he finally got wind of it and was like, I got to sell these things, kid. What are you doing? And one thing led to another. We got a little race car, and then I ended up with some local sponsorship, and then got introduced to corporate America, and would have never dreamed of driving a fuel funny car, and my career being close to 20 years so far, and dealing with corporate America and pitching people in boardrooms and selling yourself and doing all these things, and then winning races. And it's unbelievable. I pinch myself every day that this is my life, and I get to do this, and then get to come home and farm 3,400 acres here in Virginia and run 1,800 head of cattle, and just unbelievable. I've been so blessed. It's beyond means, man.
Well, you even made it into the Farm Machinery Digest. Did you even know that?
I did not know that. I know I had a deal there with New Holland, because we buy so much equipment and we do so much, to run over this ground and the land out here. And I'm always looking for deals and different things like that. And I even was doing some deals on the funny car where they would give me some equipment and we'd put them on the car, and actually ended up winning a St. Louis race with New Holland on the car back a couple years ago. And just building relationships, and that's where, like, no different than when you reached out and was like, hey, let's do an interview. It's just like these doors open and you meet new people, and it's just incredible. You know what I mean? The amount of folks that come through these doors that are just open because of what you do, and the people you meet and the blessings that are there. It's just it's wild, but it is so cool to meet new people and make new relationships like that.
You've gotten an extraordinary journey ahead of you, and this is your moment. This is your time, and I truly believe that. I feel it. I hear it even in the energy of your voice. And I hope you do continue to move forward, knowing that there's going to always be movement, even when you're standing still. Like you said, things are coming to you, and you're in that sweet spot, Matt, where all of that is important for you is to just show up, to just be Matt Hagan.
Well, what's really been eye-opening for me, and it's every time I've ever had the chance to surround myself with good people, good things happen, and that's really been the highlight of my career. I'd love to sit here and say, I'm this 4-time world champion. I got 56 wins, and, we got all these things that I've done and all these accolades and world records. And, that sounds cool on paper, but really, truly, it's my group of people that I've been able to surround myself with, and they're phenomenal, right? And they've done the hard work, the behind the scenes, the labor, the, coming in early, leaving late, the blood, sweat, and tears, and the organization. I mean, even down to, like, you got to think about the people that set up the interviews, to the guy that's changing the oil in the car, to the guy that's driving the big rig. Just all of it has it's a small village of people that put this together to make you successful, right? And the $50 million that these sponsors have spent over the years to create these 4 championships that we have. And it's incredible, but it really comes back down to people. And that's one thing that I've learned through my dad. He's got 43 companies, and he's got over 900 employees, and I've always just kind of like tried to sit in a corner, keep my mouth shut, and act like a sponge, right? Anytime that he talks or says or does, that's like, okay, like, you listen and you learn, and it's always come back to just finding good people and good things happen, and you incentivize those folks, and you make sure that you pay them well, and and they'll do well for you. And it's just time and time again. It just comes back to folks, and the people that think that everyone's replaceable are just so wrong. I mean, I've been so successful for having great people around me.
Several comments here. Awesome driver in person. I'm so happy for Matt. UAS wrote, I asked Matt when he was in St. Louis if he worked out every day. He said, nah, man, I just wear tight shirts.
That's my stick, man. Like, it's like everybody says, how much you bench press? I said, not enough. You know what I mean? So it's and everybody wants to arm wrestle you. And my thing is, I don't like losing, so I'd rather not. You know what I mean? But it's so funny.
Ronald wrote, I said it before and I will say it again. Matt Hagan is going to be the John Force of his generation and others. I am an avid JFR fan since day one, but I am a hardcore MOPAR guy. I cheer for both, but I see Matt Hagan going to the top because he loves the sport.
Oh, those are some super kind words. And I don't think there's anyone can ever replace John Force. I mean, 16-time world champion and has just done so much for the sport. I'm truly honored to be able to one day sit back on the rocking porch out here and just say, man, I got to race that guy and I got to mix it up with the best there ever was. And, to have 16 championships and to win hundreds of races, it's unbelievable. There will never be a replacement for John Force. And, but those kind words are incredible. And I just want to, just to be even mentioned in the same realm of that is really humbling. And, but we're out here doing what we do. We love doing it, man. And I don't know how long my run's going to be out here, but one thing about it is we are absolutely having fun doing it, winning races, turning win lights on, and the fan experience, right? Like, I think that's what's so different about our sport. It's just that every ticket is a pit pass, right? And you get to come in for your, $70, GA ticket. And excuse me, that might be wrong. I don't know, but it's one of those things where that GA ticket gets you in to access everything, to the drivers, to the crew guys, to the guys putting the stuff together. You get to stand at the ropes. You don't have to be hot passed up. So our sport is very unique in that way that you can do about anything you want for just you walk through the gate. And most of the time it doesn't work like that in most motorsports. So we are, it's kind of wild because people want what they can't have, right? So with being so accessible, sometimes you're over accessible. And it used to be, I remember when I first started, I couldn't get anybody to take an autograph because nobody knows who you are and they don't care, and I was like, please just take one. My guys are out here watching me. There's a $5 bill under here, just take an autograph. And now doing it 20 years, there's a line like, and it's kind of funny because I always joke with Tony. I was like, if I can just sell my boss selling t-shirts, I've had a good day.
I want to take you back. This is from NHRA. I'm going to take you here for a moment. Let's go down memory lane.
Let's do it.
Well, we have two crew chiefs sometimes. Why can't we have two car chiefs? And Alex didn't like that idea, But, and Bill Hoskins, I told you I was the best thing that ever happened to you, didn't I? Huh? Yeah, baby. So last time I gave a speech, it was on like a back of like a dinner, like a pretty much a receipt, you know what I mean? So I got a book, so you guys got a deep seat, chapter 1, just play. It's only 2 pages. Let's see, I got some stuff here. Obviously, to start off with this, it would have been an incredible season. I'm glad it's over with because I don't think I could take the heat no more, man. There's not enough just for men, to be up here on this stage right now, as much pressure as it is. But, the biggest thing is just our guys, they grinded like crazy, man, and we were able to turn the win light on and win a championship, and it's crazy. But, I want to talk about my dad real quick. The sacrifices he's made to put me in this position and to do the things I've been able to do, to surround myself with the people that I've surrounded myself with. He's led by example, and he's the type of man I've always tried to be. And he's a guy that basically, Bobby, you'd appreciate this. He's a car dealer. I watched him trade for 4 billy goats one time on a car deal to make $5. You know what I mean? So he's a hustler, and that's really what I've always tried to do is hustle. And I've surrounded myself with great people. He has 42 companies and 900 employees, and it's unbelievable. He always tells me all the time. He's like, it's time to put your big boy pants on, come home, work, make some money, and I'm just like, I really like driving this race car, so it's tough to leave here. But at the end of the day, my dad has really been one of the guys I look up to and I care about, one of the few people I care about their opinions, and my wife and kids, oh my gosh, my son, 16, he just turned 17 and was at the win in St. Louis. And, he was like, we're going to Vegas. I'm like, no, you're not. You're 17 years old. And he ended up coming to Vegas. And my poor father brought him out there. And he was like, you could just see how wore out my dad was. He was getting kicked out of lounges and everything else. And it was one of those things like, you're not quite ready. He's like, Vegas is not ready for me. I'm like, Vegas is ready for everybody, So, but my wife does an amazing job with my kids. And I have some of the best kids in the world. And I just, I think the biggest thing that we
Think safety.
That was back in 2003. What comes to your mind? Where did that bring you?
Yeah, it's wild to relive those moments and just the to go back through, like you said, memory lane and the trials and tribulations of that year to win the championship and how things need to go your way and dealing with pressure and trying to rise to the occasion and not I think the biggest thing for me is that you have 8 guys there, 10 guys if you count the crew chiefs and stuff, that look to you every Sunday to make sure you do your job. And it's their bread and butter, right? And that the look of disappointment when you mess up as a driver, that's probably the worst feeling in the world for me. And I think that's what drives me to get up on the wheel and to try to do the best that I can. And obviously, as you get older, reaction times slow down a little bit here and there, but you still have to work every day at it, and you have to work on your mental game, and that's where I think it kind of separates you from other drivers. Is not a lot of people in life, period, know how to work on their mental game, and I've worked with a lot of sports psychologists and different things like that. And I've done stuff that's like, man, I don't want to do this. This is embarrassing, but it's putting yourself in a situation to where you're not comfortable. And that's when you grow, is when you're not comfortable. I mean, like that sports psychologist, he had me out there playing pretend catch in front of all my peers. And I'm like, dude, I don't want, I'm going to get made fun of. I don't want to do this, but it's putting yourself in that situation to where you say, okay, I don't care what people are going to think. If this is something that's going to make me grow as an athlete and as an individual and make my mind stronger, let's do it. Or getting up on a high ropes course, he threw me up on this deal. I'm not big on heights and you're walking across these wires and stuff at 30 feet. And it's just like, man, but that's when you grow, when you're not comfortable. And when you are comfortable, you're not growing, So those type of things, going back through memory lane like that to know, that you were put yourself in these situations to where you had to rise to the top and you turn something that most people would go, don't mess up, into something that's, all right, this is my opportunity. This is what I've been working for. This is what I want to do. Here's how we're going to deal with the situation, and we're going to rise to the occasion. And this is what I've been, that player that says, give me the ball, coach. Those are those opportunities that come up a few times in people's career. And it's how you deal with those situations and how you deal with pressure and how you minimize things in your brain to be that champion, to deal with those things that come up. And I think that's what really sits in with me as far as, being able to perform under pressure, because no one does well with pressure. Anybody that says, oh, I love pressure, well, they're full of it, man. Like pressure, it cracks people, period. And how you deal with that pressure and how you turn it into a positive and how you make something good out of that is really what I think separates champions. Because you look at most professional sports, and every one of these athletes out here, whether it's football, baseball, golf, tennis, whatever it may be, they're very talented, very gifted athletes. All of them are. They wouldn't be at that level. But what separates them from being great is their mental game.
We've got with us today Matt Hagan, career wins 56, career final rounds 99. He is an incredible man, human being, husband, father, and he is a driver for the Tony Stewart Racing Dodge. Got a question for you if you're ready.
Sure.
What's a moment in your career that looked like pure adrenaline from the outside, but was actually a deeply personal turning point for you internally?
Yeah. So, looking back, my second year driving this race car, not really fully having my hands around knowing how to drive it. I mean, it takes hundreds of runs to get comfortable at 330 miles an hour, and this slowing your mind down to where it feels, it needs to be like pulling on an old shoe every day, right? Like it just fits, it feels good, you know what to do. And that being said, these cars, even after 20 years, no run has ever been the same. Like no run has just come back and you're like, oh yeah, that was pretty standard. It's always different, right? Second year into this deal, we as a team have done really well, have a chance to win a championship. And it's kind of unheard of, your second year doing this. And all I had to do was show up in Pomona and go 2 rounds. And I'm crown champion, like, oh, this is easy, no big deal. And I'm racing against John Force. And basically he has to win the race to become the champion. And I got to lose second round. And, sure enough, went out there and lost first round. And, I had to watch round by round as John won. And, and it was devastating. I mean, and I didn't want to give an interview. I wasn't prepared mentally to lose. I wasn't, you pumped yourself up all this, for the last couple of weeks of you're going to be a champion. You're going to do what it takes. You're going to, in your mind, you see it happening. Right. And then when it crumbles in front of you, that is a huge reality check, right? Like, it's just like, oh my gosh, man, like now this guy has to go out here and do what John Force does is win, right? Like he's so seasoned and so veteran at doing that. And I had to watch it unfold, and they wanted to put a camera in my face every round. And, there's just, it taught me, to be humble and to be, to lose well, but to win well. Everyone wins well, but you have to learn to lose well as well. And you have to give those interviews. And I caught a lot of slack for being like, no, get that out of my face. I'm not, I don't want to do an interview, like, and everybody thought I was pouting, but like, it was not even that. It was just, I wasn't mentally prepared to not walk out of there without a championship. And, it's like going into battle, you get ready to do whatever it takes, and even though it was something a part that got hurt on the race car and not something that happened as far as the driving side of it, as a team, we win together, we lose together, and we lost that day. And I had to watch John win, and it made me grow as a man. It made me grow as a person, as a competitor. And it's one of those things. It brought a lot of humility to my life, and I grew from that. So that definitely stands out for me.
Back on September 12th, 2025, you did the awkward photo challenge and you accepted. Do you remember it?
Oh, I'm not sure. Awkward photo. I've done so many photos and challenges here lately. Our PR team has something every week, but yeah. Okay. So we come up with a card. You had to pull a card and then whatever that card was, you had to do the photo.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I do remember.
It was really good. It's Sarah Taylor wrote, I love Tony's expression when he saw the picture, LOL.
Everybody's a good sport, right? Like that's the thing about our industry is like, Chloe comes up with these wild ideas and these challenges, and it's like we're all busy, right? And we all would love to have more time to do other things, but everybody is a great sport about it, and they find the time. Even at the end of the day, if your day didn't go the way it's supposed to, everyone still has fun with it. And I look forward to these challenges and different things like that. It makes it fun. It makes it different. And it's wild. You never know what you're going to get, though. That's for sure.
You live in a sport where milliseconds decide everything. What's a belief or habit you've had to unlearn because it slowed you down more than a car ever did?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is racing the racer beside of you, and that hurts you, right? Like you got to race the racetrack. We have a guy, Kirk, that pulls Grippo out there, and he tells you how sticky the track is and how much grip's out there, and we pay him a lot of money for that reason to read the track, to give us information on where the bumps are at, how much grip it has, where we should line the car up, all these different things that he's out there all day, just pulling rubber, taking data, using samples to relay to us of how much horsepower we can apply. Because, what people don't understand is these things, they're 12,000 horsepower. And I don't know that people can truly wrap their mind around that. 80,000 foot-pounds of torque. If you take a 5500 Dodge spooled up. That thing makes like 400 pounds of torque. These things make 80,000 foot-pounds of torque. It's just unbelievable, right? So there's never really a lack of power. It's this application of power, or the lack thereof application of power. And so we have a guy out there, Kurt, that stays out there all day looking at the track, looking at the bumps, checking the grippo, seeing when they're going to spray, when they're going to drag, all that kind of things. And we have to race that lane. And I think the biggest thing that I've really kind of instilled in our crew chief and different things is that we race that lane, and we want to run as hard as we can at that lane. There's so many times you get caught up with racing the person beside of you and what they're going to race. And basically you're trying to do more because you think they're going to do more, and you end up beating yourself. Right. And if we run that lane and we got all that we can get, then there's no more to get, right? Like if you walk away and say, hey, look, we got beat, we got outran, but we ran as hard as we could in that lane, then you can truly walk away on that Sunday and say, hey, we just, we gave it all that we had in the lane that we were in, and that was that. But when you get into trying to race the person beside of you, or what they've done in the past, or trying to overdo, what you think should really happen, that's when you start getting into situations to where you beat yourself and you go, man, we shouldn't have done that. We're smarter than that. So I think that has a lot to do with it. That's really helped us as far as being consistent and racing the racetrack.
I'm curious to see what you're going to say about this one. What's a moment of doubt you've never spoken about publicly, the one that forced you to rebuild your confidence from the inside out?
I think the first explosion I ever had was one of my worst explosions and worst fires I've ever had. And it really made me question doing this as a profession, because I realized why people jump out of skyscrapers that are on fire. The fire is so intense. And it's just like I had a moment where I said, I'm going to die. And when that crosses, I don't know that too many people in life truly have had that cross their brain of like, I'm not going to make it out of this. This is really bad. And you start to panic, and you start to take in more smoke, and you don't know where you're at on the racetrack, and you're still running hundreds of miles an hour. And I was ready to jump out of the car, and I still hadn't buckled myself. And it was just, the fire was so intense that, it's blistering my legs up, and, you just, you want out. Right. But you start panicking as well. And all these things compile on each other, and then you have to hold your breath, and you have to calm yourself down. You have to get the car stopped, and you have to do the things that are necessary to get yourself out of that situation, because no one's going to do that for you. You're in it, and it's only up to you to do the things that you need to do. And that was one of my first real fires and one of my first real explosions, and it was one of my worst ones, right? And so it taught me a lot, as far as what you should do and getting through those situations. But it really made me question of like, hey, should I do this? I have kids and I want to go see them, and I'm doing something that, it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. And you over 20 years in a funny car, I've had so many wild rides and explosions and, different things that, I thought it's knocked some of my fingers off, and you throw your gloves off and you go, oh my gosh, there's 10 fingers here. You're so grateful for that because the concussion is so big and you can't feel your hands and different things like that. And you go, why am I doing this? And it's just like, well, it's because you're good at it, bud. You know what I mean? And that's all you know how to do. You go home, and it's kind of funny because my pops always like, come home and sell cars. Well, I don't want to sell cars. I want to drive a race car, And so it's just it's like, that's why you crawl back in there, and that's why you keep doing those things. But I think that if you crawl in those cars and you don't think that it's going to happen to you, you're foolish. It is a matter of time before you're going to be in a bad situation, and you're going to have to figure out how to get out of it. And I think that that's where that adrenaline and that kind of like, okay, let's go, and that's what's, for me, drives me to, keep doing it, because you never know what's going to happen, but you also never know, how good it's going to be. Like, it's just also, these things are so rewarding when you're on top and you have won a championship. No one can ever take that away from you. I mean, no one. Like, you've earned that with 10 individuals. I've raced with billionaires. I mean, you look at Johnny Gray, worth $4 billion. You look at Alexis DeJoria, family used to own Patron Tequila, Paul Mitchell. Like, not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying you can't buy this. It's something that you do with a group of people that you earn together, blood, sweat, and tears. And once you earn that, it is unquestionably, it can never be taken away from you. So that the high of that is unbelievable. But you also have that low of, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get through this. I might literally lose my life here today. So there's the highs of highs and the lows of lows.
Metal Militia wrote, "You're one of my favorite drivers. I remember back at Royal Purple, you guys were pulling your FC out for staging, and I came across needing your signature on my hat. I dropped my pen, and you said, hold on, stop everything, and asked your whole crew, and they found one you signed. They found a pen, and you signed the hat. Dude, that's badass. Always remember that moment."
Well, what's really cool is like, after the race, we win the race, right? And they bring you back to the starting line to do your interview, and then they want to rush you off to do media, because media, they have to get their quotes out, they have to do all these things. And I'm so bad about not going up to media, because there are people that stayed after that really like they love you and what you're doing. And you wouldn't believe how many people that have never touched a Wally before touched one of these trophies, and to pass it around and allow people to take pictures with it and hold it and touch it, it's unbelievable, right? And they always bring the pictures back, and they're like, oh my gosh, I've been watching this for 30 years and I've never touched a Wally before. And but then media cracks down on me, and they're like, we gotta go. And I'm like, you guys can come down here, you guys been up in the AC all day. I was like, I'm down here sweating with the fans and sweating in the car, and you guys can walk down here if you want to quote, you know what I mean? And it's really important for me to make sure that we take care of our fans, because our fans truly are the ones that are the reason that we're here. And it's kind of funny, because John Force, it was, I know we're talking a lot about John Force, but he really instilled it in me, way back when I had a bad explosion, and the car blew up, the body came off of it, but the parachutes kind of like straightened the car out and settled the car down. Well, in that the instant, my head rotated inside my helmet. Well, I split my eyebrows open, so there was like blood everywhere, and it was one of those things where I couldn't see, and you don't have a mirror, so you don't know how bad it really is, and it's just massive explosion, and so your whole body's stinging. And they throw me in the ambulance, and John Force rips open the back door, and he said, "Kid, you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." He said, "Hey, next time," he said, "roll around on the ground, act like you're on fire." He said, "We're here to put on a show." He said, "You're going to get more TV time like that." And it truly instilled in me that we are showmen, and these people pay their hard-earned money to see this show, and you got to give them the best show on planet Earth, man. And that's what I think why he's so successful, and because he's a showman. And it really rang true to, like, okay, it's awesome to win, and it's awesome to do this, but these folks they're camping out, and this is their weekend and their vacation and their money and everything else. So put on a show. Even though he was joking, it just really set in,
I think you're going to appreciate this. I believe I'm going to appreciate this. Where do I have it? Here we go. I like this question for you. When you think about legacy, what's the part of your story you hope survives long after the trophies fade and the engines go quiet?
Yeah. Thinking about legacy, I've never really thought about it too much. You're just out here grinding every weekend and hoping to win races, and you look up and the accolades are just, so far they're incredible. I can't believe we won 56 races and 4 championships and running it up a bunch and different things like that. But I think the biggest thing, man, is just be a good dude, be humble, be kind. Don't be that guy that's just full of himself and just over-centered, and just I think humility goes a long way. It's like you can be super successful, but be humble, man. And I see that with some of these young kids out here, man. Like, I'm not gonna mention names, but like they just, they've done well for a little while, and it's just, there's no humility. And it's just like, I don't know. I think that the biggest thing for me is just, people that are successful, I just have a lot of respect for them when they're humble, and it's just, I think hopefully that I leave on my mark of that, as even though I've been very successful, I know how fast it can be taken away. Right. And it's just one of those things where there's a new kid, Vandergrift, that's driving, and he lost his ride for a while, and the kid is super humble, and it makes you want to cheer for him. You know what I mean? It makes you want to root for him, because he's gotten a ride again, and he's in one of the best race cars there is out there. And, he's driving for force, and he has all the parts and pieces, but he's not boastful. He's very, very humble to have the opportunity, because it has been pulled out from underneath him before. And to have those opportunities, and the sponsors and the people rooting for you and the people believing in you, that's where it's at, I think, and it's easy to beat on your chest and say, hey, I'm a big dog, but at the end of the day, there's always someone working hard. There's always someone trying to pull you down from there. And there's always someone trying to climb to the top. So I think for me, leaving the legacy on the sport is that, you have been super successful, but you understand that there's always someone out there working just as hard.
If your car had a personality, what would it roast you for the most?
Oh man, beating on it, it just, I beat on this thing. I don't make love to anything. So it's so funny, because my crew guys, they made me a shirt up one time, and they call me a seagull, because I fly in, I shit on everything, and I fly home, and it's just one of those things where it's like they made me a shirt that says, I don't make love to nothing, because I'm just so hard on everything. So like, even getting in the car, I'll go around and I'll grab the wing, I'll shake it to make sure it's on tight. I'll beat on the side of panels. I'll, I get in the car, my helmet, like we pay, $10,000 for these helmets and paint it up and all this stuff. And my helmet is beat to pieces, you know what I mean? And it's just it's just like you get in, you put your mouthpiece in, you pull down tight to this piece of metal, and it's like, let's go. So I think if my car had a personality, it'd say, be a little bit more kind to me, bud. You know what I mean? But it's kind of one of those things where you have to be aggressive with funny cars, and you have to put them where you want them to go, because they'll drive you all over the place and everywhere but straight. And that's why people hit cones and walls and all this other stuff with them. But yeah, I'm just one of those guys. I just beat on this thing, man. And it's just so funny, because everybody wants to be a smooth operator, and I guess I'm far from that.
If you could challenge any fictional character to race, cartoon, superhero, villain, whatever it may be, could even, I don't know, Roadrunner, whatever, who are you choosing, and what chaos unfolds on the track?
Oh, it definitely have to be Batman. I'm always like, where's the girl? But it's like, because Batman could be real, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, let's go, you know what I mean? And it's like all the gadgets and everything else. So I'm a big Batman fan.
What's the most ridiculous superstition you've ever tried before a race, even if you swore you never admit it?
Oh man, it's definitely been like favorite underwear and all this kind of stuff, and gotta have those boxers to put on, and I get dressed a certain way, and left side first, and then right side, and some of that's just like a mental check, like, hey, I got my gear on, and I've suited up the same every time, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, laying out a pair of green underwear every time, man, on race day, that's kind of where I'm at with some of it. And it's so funny to be superstitious a little bit, you know what I mean? But I think that we're all a little bit off in the head a little bit. So you have to have some superstition to make you feel sane.
I got one more for you. What's the funniest misunderstanding someone has had about your job? The kind that made you think, wow, that's not even close.
Well, just people asking, like, why is it a funny car? You know what I mean? There's nothing funny about them. You're on fire. There's no joking with this stuff, and it's everything serious and fast and out and loud, and just, they're like, why do they get called a funny car? And going back to the old school days where they tuck the wheels up underneath this thing and just made them look wild, and they got, kind of dubbed the funny car name from just the way they used to look and the way these guys were making these things back in the day. I mean, guys put these things together in parking lots and used to do motors in their hotel rooms, and it just kind of is wild how the sport has evolved into what it is. I mean, obviously you take time and money, and you're going to make everything faster and bigger and louder, but yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is, like, where did the name come from, and where did why is it funny? And there's nothing funny about these funny cars. And but it all comes back down to looks, and so it's kind of wild. So most people don't understand the history of it, and I had to kind of go back and dig around a little bit, and I could probably even be wrong with that. I don't know. That's just kind of what I read, and can't believe everything that you read, but I guess I'm just running with that.
I'm glad I spotted this one. We can't go forward without this question. If you could freeze one feeling from your career, a single emotional snapshot, and keep it forever, which moment would you choose and why?
Obviously, just celebrating with my guys, to see how that feeling of accomplishment, right? Like all the hard work, all the energy, all the things, just see it come together, and just that knowing that it's only going to last moments, and then you're back to the grind and back to working on yourself and everything else. Those you strive years for that, and to have it come together. And there's so many athletes and so many professionals that will never feel that. They'll never feel that sense of accomplishment of winning a championship. They'll never feel that satisfaction, that peace that comes with it. The time that when you get to, take that deep breath and just let it all out and understand that you accomplished your goals, and you've done what you set out to do. You can't replace it with anything, and it's just that, but you only get those for moments, right? And then it is gone, and learning to appreciate that, and learning to take that in, and learning to stop for a second and just, absorb that. That's really, over the years, that's, kind of where I've had to learn to do that a little bit, because, as a young buck, you're going like, oh yeah, that's great. Let's go. Let's do it again. Da, da, da. Take the time and stop. Just bring that in and make that feeling whole. You know what I mean? And understand what you just accomplished, and that very few people in their life will ever get to feel that. And it's a special thing.
Any closing thoughts?
Oh man, closing thoughts for me, just want to say thank you to our fans, man. Like, it just truly, without our fans, we can't do it. They buy the Mobile One, they buy the cars, they buy all this stuff. And it's so hard. They monetize our social media, every like, every post, everything has got a $sign tied to it. But at the end of the day, when, everyone has a choice on how they spend their money, and that speaks volumes. And for them to go out there and support what we do out here in NHRA Drag, it's not even just my sponsors, but just any of the sponsors that are in NHRA that these fans do. We truly can't do it without them. So hats off to them, and truly thank you for supporting what we do.
Matt Hagan, everyone. He is a professional and 4-time NHRA Drag Racing Series Funny Car World Champion. He's also a driver for the Tony Stewart Racing Dodge. You can go to his Instagram at MattHagan_FC. That's MattHagan_FC. You were just recently away. You were just, doing some events. Any share on any of that at all? Because you were in Maryland,
it's
right?
nice to be, Maryland, but I'm home right now. We're planting corn, and obviously we got a lot of hay that got wet last night from a little rainstorm. It's like I was telling you earlier, if you want it to rain, put some hay down, But so we got a couple of days here at home, and then we head up to Epping, New Hampshire, and I've actually won a bunch up there. And it's kind of a funny story. I used to always have a handlebar mustache, and I did it as a joke, and ended up winning. And then I won like 4 in a row up there with the handlebar mustache. So I don't think I can grow it back that fast, but maybe we can draw it on with a Sharpie or something for this weekend.
Oh, I like that. With you can do anything. I mean, you're
just for men, make it in a little thicker or something.
Seriously, you are pure entertainment, and I mean that in a way that you are the perfect 360. You can put you into anything and have you be part of everything, and it would just make sense. I mean, you could be placed on words, seriously. SNL should have you. You should host SNL one night.
I don't know if I could read the script. You know what
I mean? They can supersize it.
There we go.
Matt, thank you. This has been so fun. So fun.
I've had a blast. Thank you. I appreciate the time. It's always great to meet new folks, and hopefully, we got some new people that listen to you that maybe check out drag racing.
I hope so. I believe so. Yeah. All right. Hold the line, my friend.
All right.
Thank you to everyone who's tuned in to Live on Air with Stephen Quilco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio and Biz Talk Radio. All great things. Mr. Matt Hagan, head on over to his social media, his Instagram. Give him a follow, a like. You're going to see a recent post coming up very soon that we are going to have online. Once again, Matt's handle is Matt Hagan _FC. That's MATTHAGAN _FC. Check the schedule on Power 98.5, power985.com for all upcoming interviews. We've got DJ High Def live every Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern. I know he's got some new tracks. We have added a new lineup of new music, independent artists, always refreshing. We do not play the same music for 6 months at a time. What normal or traditional radio, regurgitates over and over and over again by industry standards because of contracts and everything else. We play what matters most to you. Remember, Power 98.5 Satellite Radio is where your voice matters. All great things that are happening on Live on Air with Stephen Quilco. If you happen to miss any of the live radio show episodes, you can go to any of your top 5 favorite podcast platforms and just type in a search Live on Air with Stephen Quilco, and you'll be able to find anyone and everyone, including Mr. Matt Hagan, which will be published, I would say, probably today, tomorrow. It'll be sometime this week. But there will be another live airing of all episodes. We like to air twice. We like to have our lives going and flowing, especially for my UK listeners and family out there. Thank you for joining us today. Have fun. Summer is here. It's almost here. It feels like it's here. I can feel the heat already. Get out there, enjoy life, love yourself, be well, and don't regret anything. Be kind to yourself. Be easy with yourself. Like Matt, life is a fast-moving force every single day. Just take time to slow down and look at yourself, feel yourself, be at one with yourself, meditate, run, jog. This morning I got a cappuccino and I took a nice walk around the city, and it was beautiful. Not a lot of people were out, so I like to get that done early. Have a great day. Enjoy life. Be well. And we'll have a conversation soon. Take care.
Friend us on your socials and let's connect.